Yes, good morning, children. So, in the previous class, I was telling you about the differences between crystalline solid and amorphous solid. Okay, and I'll just give a quick go through over that, and then we will go with the next topic, right? And crystalline solids, the constituent particles are arranged in a uniform, regular manner, whereas in the case of amorphous solid, it is irregular. Okay, that is what you call it as long range order and short range order, right? And crystalline solid, they have sharp melting points, whereas amorphous solids, they have a melting point range. You can't say it melts at 56 degree or 60 degree. You can only say it melts between 50 to 60, something like that, right? Then crystalline solids are anisotropic and amorphous solids, they are isotropic. Anisotropic means anisotropic. Aniso, right? That means all the physical properties that you're measuring, they are not uniform in all the directions because the constituent particles which are arranged in different directions, they are different. But in the case of amorphous solid, it is all the whole medium, it is same, so it is isotropic. Crystalline solids have definite heats of fusion, whereas amorphous, they do not have, because melting point range. Crystalline solids, they undergo a clean cleavage. That is, if you cut into two parts, then on both the surfaces of the cleaved part will be same as that of the other. Whereas in the case of amorphous solid, it will be an irregular cut, right? Like say you cut a piece of rubber. It will be totally ununiform, is it not? It will be a rough surface, and that is what you call it as an irregular cut. Crystalline solids are called as true solids, whereas amorphous solids are called as pseudo-solids. They appear as solids, but they are not true solids. Or you can also call them as supercooled liquids, like that of glass I was telling you. They are supercooled liquids, right? Now let us see the classification of solids in terms of intermolecular forces. Okay, now what are the different kinds of crystalline solids? This is classification of crystalline solids. They are molecular solids, yes, ionic solids, metallic solids, and covalent solids. Now what are they individually? Let us see. This molecular solid, it is again of three types. They are non-polar, polar, and hydrogen bonded. Now what do you mean by non-polar? They are made up of atoms, say helium, argon, or molecules, hydrogen, chlorine, iodine, carbon dioxide, CCl4. Now you may ask, CCl4 to liquid hai. So under a particular set of conditions, if it is made in the form of a solid, same way carbon dioxide is a gas, how I am considering it under solids? That means solid carbon dioxide I am talking. What is solid carbon dioxide? It is dry ice, is it not? This you are familiar. So all these substances under a particular set of conditions, they can be preserved or they can be considered as solids. So that is what we are talking about here, okay? So non-polar molecular solids could be any of these. And when you say like that, atoms or molecules, they are held by weak dispersion forces, is it not? Even in the form of solid also, the intermolecular forces or interatomic forces are very weak, and very weak forces are called as dispersion forces or London forces. So obviously when the intermolecular forces are very weak, it is bound to be soft, and there are no ions, no electrons, free electrons, so they are non-conductors of electricity. They have low melting point, intermolecular force, everything depends upon intermolecular forces. So they have low melting point, and usually they are gases or liquids at room temperature and pressure. So under a set of conditions, you are making them in the form of solids. Otherwise, what are they? They are gases or liquids. That is the first category. Now the next category is polar molecular solids. Now the polar, the name itself is telling you that the molecule is a polar molecule. HCl is polar. Why it is polar? Cl is more electronegative than hydrogen. Same way, SO2, oxygen is more electronegative than sulfur. So both are polar molecules. And what is the kind of interactive force between them? They are strong dipole-dipole interaction. And here also, the molecules are not that hard in the solid state. You know very well, HCl is a gas, SO2 is a gas. So again here also you are considering them in the form of solid under a set of conditions. Okay. So they will definitely, if given an opportunity, they will go back to their natural state. Gas state mein chala jayega. So they are soft. And here also they are non-conductors of electricity. And here the melting points are higher than the non-polar atoms or molecules. Okay, slightly higher because वहाँ पे dispersion forces थे और यहाँ पे dipole-dipole interaction है. So obviously melting point will be slightly higher than the non-polar molecules. And these are also gases or liquids at room temperature and pressure. So here we are considering solid SO2, solid NH3. That is, under a set of conditions you are preserving them in the form of solid. Then the third category is hydrogen bonded. Now what are they made up of? They are polar covalent molecules. They have covalent bonds. And what is the interactive force? What is the intermolecular force is there? They are strong hydrogen bonding. The name itself is suggesting, is it not? There is hydrogen bonding among the molecules. Say in the case of ice. Again it is soft, non-conductors. They are volatile liquids or they are soft solids at room temperature and pressure. Okay. That is about hydrogen bonded molecular solids. That is, if at all in the molecule there is fluorine or oxygen or nitrogen which is holding a hydrogen, there is no possibility of hydrogen bonding in that particular molecule. Okay, so this is what you have to remember. So that is this classification, molecular solids. Now come to ionic solids. Ionic solid, again the name itself is suggesting that ionic compounds in the form of solids, and all ionic compounds generally they are solids only. What are they made of? They are made up of oppositely charged ions.